everyone. Today I have a special guest, Tone Brown. She followed her passion and dream of writing to write her first novel, later turning her book into a movie. I introduce to you screenwriter, producer, director, editor, and novelist, Tone Brown. So now, how long have you been in the film industry?
Since 2008 now.
So tell us about how you got into the industry. What made you go that route?
Well, the first thing I have to say is God.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
I say that because one, I love him, I serve him, and he deserves all the glory.
All right.
But I did not have any intentions of anything such as what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an accountant. I'm just a basic accountant. I've worked at IBM and AIG, a split of over 20 years. I was working a temporary position with a company called Honeywell.
Okay.
And I was going through some struggles at that time, financially, mentally, emotionally, physically. It's like when they say you're getting ready to go to that rock bottom.
Yes. Okay.
I was in that role position of heading towards that rock bottom. At the time, I was living in a extended stay hotel, pretty much at a homeless position.
Okay.
And so that while I was at the job, I was constantly spending time with God, asking him, what is next for me? What I'm going to do for the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to be your servant and the position that I was in? I
Okay.
just didn't understand how could I been so poor, be so skilled, so talented in accounting and stuff, but didn't have control of my life or my
Okay.
finances.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Things hit you, yeah, but it was like I didn't understand my life.
Okay.
And I knew all my life, since 15 years of age, I had worked extremely hard, doing everything they say to do to succeed.
Okay.
But I was not succeeding. And then I was praying to God, and I'm like, okay, God, I'm yielded to you. I'm your vessel. What is my next right move?
Mm-hmm.
And in the mix of that, long story short, he just started giving me a story. And so on my job, we had a downtime where nobody could work. And I'm sitting there, and you have access to pen, pencils, computers, and notebooks, and all that good stuff.
Yes, that's right.
So I was sitting there, and I was like, well, I need to look busy.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started, just writing, like journaling more or less of anything.
Okay.
Next thing you know, 2 hours later, I had a 500-page story.
Really?
And yeah, and
that's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
And so I had that story, and it was like, while I'm writing this story, I'm coming up with these characters, and I'm looking around trying to think of names. So I started looking at, my coworkers. Oh, let's use his name. And then I was like, but I need my lead guy's name, and so I ended up naming my lead name after the computer Dale.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And so then next thing you know, I had this story. And so then I was like, well, God, what do I do with this story? I don't know nothing about being an author or a writer. And here's the thing. I'm not very good with punctuations and things like that.
Okay.
And I was like, God, I can't put my embarrassment out there about, not being that great of a writer.
Yeah.
And God just said, you write, I'll take care of the rest. So I took that faith in that, and I did that. And then next thing you know, God just led me every step of the way to everything I've done.
That's fantastic.
To writing the script, to finding out how to publish it, and how to promote it, how to build a fan club for the book once it became a book. And then I started, I joined this group called Meetup.
Okay.
And started going to the meetup meetings. And then, I developed a whole fan base over the script. And so from that, I was sitting in the book club, and
Okay.
one of the fans were like, "I would love to see these characters in a movie." So I'm like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, that would be cool." I said, "But nah." Then, but it put a thought in there. So I
Yes,
started
yes.
doing my homework, trying to find filmmakers that will do my book for me. Everybody I was looking for wanted thousands of dollars that I knew I didn't have, and
Yes.
then also if they weren't trying to get a lot of money out of me to produce it, they were trying to rewrite it to put their name on it so they could
Okay.
get credit. And
Okay.
every time those things came about, God kept saying that ain't the way I
That's
want
not
you
the
to
way.
go.
Yeah, yeah.
I like, oh, so then after that, I was like, okay, God, if that's not the way, you got to tell me the way.
That's right, because he brought you there.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so I went to another club, and the person that mentioned it, she was like, "Well, how did it come along?" I said, "Oh, that's too much money." She said,
Yeah.
"Well, do it yourself." I
Oh.
like, I like, ding, 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 ding. What?
Yeah, yeah.
I like, okay. I like, well, I did publish myself, so let's see where it goes. So,
Okay.
so I went on YouTube. I
Uh-huh.
put everything I could,
Uh-huh.
and watched and learned how to film.
Okay.
And then I went to the library and I pulled every book out on, writing, editing, directing, what all it takes to do a film. And so once I saw all that, I was like, well, God, if you gave it to me like this, I'm gonna step out on faith and just do it. I
Just
said,
do
for
it.
whatever is needed, I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna hold you to
Oh,
your promised word that whatever I have need of, you're gonna provide it. I don't care what has happened that seemed like it was going to be a failure.
uh-huh.
God had an answer. If He led me to how to find actors. If I got actors that did not do right,
Mhm.
God would say, find another. Like, well, how am I going to find another? And then God would show me how to find another. And it was
Yeah.
really interesting because as soon as one actor would do whatever they would do to
Right,
not
right.
be a part
Uh-huh.
of it,
Uh-huh.
another actor would show up, but that
Okay.
actor would be better and more close to the character than what I thought in my mind. When we needed location, it was
Mhm.
really just amazing. I was like, God, I don't know where to go film this stuff. Then I learned you can guerrilla, like
Okay, okay.
guerrilla. And so once I learned that I can guerrilla, then we took advantage of all the outside,
Okay.
and just through different actors and different associations,
Yeah.
and people that I knew, we ended
Uh-huh.
up getting homes that we could film in, and then we next thing you know, 2 years later, I had a full feature film
What?
done, completed.
Oh my goodness. That is awesome
That is total God. Yeah, that's it.
to
So it,
know.
it was just, I just honestly, it was just truly a faith walk of trusting God and feeling like, God, if you put this in my spirit, and I trust God this kind of way, my faith is just so strong that way. God, if you put this in me, then I know you already got the answers. No matter what comes my way, I always stop and pause and I'm like, okay, God, you look, you the one who told me to write that story like that. You need to give me a location. You're the
Yeah,
one that gave me these characters. You need to help me find these actors. And
right.
anything that happens, I'll be like, God, this is your promise.
Yeah,
I'm doing what
yeah.
you told me to do. So if I'm doing what you told me to do, you got to come through. And I'm really, the book of Daniel is really like my ground
Oh,
foundation. Yeah,
okay.
because I did what Daniel did. Daniel
Okay.
always told God, give me a sign.
Yeah.
And I always remember that carpet being wet
Okay.
on
Uh-huh.
dry land, or being
Yeah.
dry on wet land.
Yeah.
If I may, I want to share you this faith story that
Okay,
really
sure.
turned my life around in that
Sure.
David story.
Okay.
As I said at the beginning, I was going through that struggle. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry I have to admit this, but I have to, because I have to be authentic to my story.
Okay.
When I was going through that falling time in my life,
Mm-hmm.
I did have suicide tendencies of thought. It was like it was just too hard. I'm up here trying to survive, and I felt alone, and I felt just depressive. I was driving home from one of those food pantries where I had gotten food and all that
Uh-huh.
kind of stuff,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and I found this little lake on the side, and I was sitting there and I was talking to God, and yes, full of tears, because I was
Mm-hmm.
like just at that low point.
Mhm.
I always studied the Bible, but Daniel just really stood out for me. And so I said, God, you need to give me a sign to survive. And
Mhm.
I said, you got to tell me something on what I need to do with my life because I just can't be this way no more. So I was about to leave. And as I'm walking, I hear this in my spirit, which I know was God. Look down. So I look and I'm like, okay. And then I heard in my spirit, but pick it up.
Okay.
So I was going down. I was like, I don't know. It's because the ground was wet and muddy.
Okay.
So I'm like, I don't want to touch that gooky stuff. But I
Yes.
said, okay, I am going to be obedient. So in my obedience, I picked it up and it was a scroll. And it was the scrolls of Psalms 23 through 25. But and I apologize, I can't even remember by heart right now. But the bottom line of what Psalms 23 said
Mhm.
was, wait upon the Lord.
Mhm.
And it was like, I got you. And it was it was dry. It was a cream color scroll with a
Uh-huh.
white ribbon in mud, and it
Okay.
was not wet and it was not dirty.
Wow.
Exactly. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew right there in that moment that God was truly with me. And
With
that
you.
moment
That's
I realized God was about to do something in my life. So that's the seed planted foundation of how I came to become a filmmaker. And
right.
then
Okay.
God did the rest. He used me as the vessel, but he really did the rest. He provided everything I needed. I didn't have no money, but he made sure I had enough money. Because I tell you, I would go to film locations on a quarter
Uh-huh.
of a tank praying that I get home.
Okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
was, what money I was making, I was using to feed the cast to make
Yeah.
sure everybody had what they needed, but I didn't have anything.
Okay.
But I never lacked anything.
Yes. Yes. There it is.
And
And
so
just what you needed.
from that build all the way up to now.
So now, how is it being a Black woman in a male-dominated industry? And do you experience any bias?
Well, bias is just who we are.
Okay. Mhm.
Period. It's not the film industry. It's human nature.
Yes. Okay.
And when we get in position of power,
Mhm.
we take that power and we assume it to be control.
Yes.
And if
Okay.
we have credibility or a position that we can give to someone, depending
Mhm.
on who that person is as a character, they will
Mhm.
have their bias.
Okay.
So I have conditioned myself not to look at bias. I always look at the person.
Okay.
And because I've chosen to be that way, it's opened me up to be able to receive uh, people in position
Okay.
that are open to help me in ways that I never thought was possible to be helped,
Okay.
because
Gotcha.
I come to them without judgment of who
Mhm.
they are. Because
Okay.
I realize, sometimes God let an enemy help you,
Yeah. He was.
and an enemy can't help you if you're fighting them. So I just say, so it's back to that level of awareness. I am aware with the discernment of people. I ain't got to explain to you what I think you are.
Mhm.
But if God put you there, he put you there for a reason. So I always take that person that I may come in contact, and I take them to God. And I'm like, okay, God, I don't like this person. This person ain't nobody I would normally have in my circle. And God would quickly say, I didn't tell you to put them in your circle.
Yeah.
That person is there for a reason.
Yes.
Discover the reason, flow with the reason. And
Mhm.
as people always like to quote all the time, people are in your life for a reason and a season. Now I'm able to say, I'm going to let you flow with me until your season is up.
Yeah.
And when your season is up, I let you go.
Now, how do you hope that your films that you write and produce and direct, how do you hope they will impact people when they watch them?
Hope. That's the bottom line. Hope. I hope that somehow everything that I have created in my head that God's given me to put into script or to film, it's our human nature struggle that I write about.
Okay.
That's the bottom line of what I write about. Our authentic reality. I
Okay.
know that a lot of people want to do these drug stories, but that's not my story to
Mhm.
write.
Mhm.
And I am tired, to be truthful, of seeing our blacks being represented as the negativity of
In
this
those
world when
ways.
we're really not.
Yes, yes.
And I feel like film has given that to everybody to see, to make our white counterparts scared or think we're a certain way, because that's all they've seen on top of what they've done. And so they haven't grown past that, and they're not going to grow past that till they get the opportunity to see another image of us. And so my rule is there'll never be a drug lord. There will never be a wife beater. There will never be an abusiveness towards a woman, or a woman disrespecting a man. Even
Okay.
though those things are happening, if I do that, it will be in a subtle way where I could show the reason behind it and the
Okay.
impact behind it to how we become better. Because
Yes.
everybody goes through those things, but
Mhm.
everybody don't beat somebody to their faces black and blue
That's
and
right.
and destruct it like that.
Yeah.
um so my stories is to give hope. If there's no hope in it, it's really to the reality of this really something that happens.
So now how do you stay motivated when you're doing projects and there's a time where things get rough or tough?
I don't identify with it,
Okay.
because I know life is rough. I've already gone through roughness. So
Mhm.
life is rough in itself. So either I embrace the roughness and whine and cry, or embrace it and seek the Father whom I serve and say, okay, well, you knew this was coming before me. What do I do? How do I fix it? How do we get past it? And
Okay.
then and the main thing is I cry,
Mhm.
I whine, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, how are we going to get through this? But in my heart, I know we're going to get through it because I serve a big God.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that God is bigger than anything that can come at me. And that to me is true. God is in control. And God ain't gonna give me no more than I can handle. And I will cry to God and I'll be like, are you sure I can handle this? But I know that I can, I know that I will, and I know it will pass. And no matter what anybody throws at me, come at me with, or I do to myself through
Mhm.
my own actions, I take responsibility for it, whether I did wrong or not. And I just say, okay, guys, well, this is what's happened to me. This is what somebody's done. How do I take this and move it to the next level? Because I don't want to wallow in it. I want
Mhm.
to grow in it. I'm a big fan of Oprah. I
Mhm.
like what she used her platform
Okay.
for.
Mhm.
And no matter what anybody thinks about her, she has empowered us
Yes.
to see our own self-worth and accept that we can have the possibility. If you
Yes.
believe in God or a higher power or spiritual whatever,
Mhm.
you still have possibility by whatever that belief level is for you.
Yes, yes.
And knowing that empowerment that she gave, I feel like that example, because when I was going through that downtime, when I would watch her and she would say certain things, even if it's to the part of that thing that went through that got popular called The Secret,
Yeah.
where, you manifest things by your mind. Oh, I
Uh-huh.
took that thing serious,
Okay.
because it wasn't the secret. It was just a part of the word of God that came the secret. So I was like, okay, God. So I took index cards and I wrote out my life, and I would keep that in, no matter where I was. If I'm in a car driving, if I had downtime, I had that index card in front of me, confessing the word of God and just speaking over my life.
Powerful.
And I do that even today. I
Okay.
speak over my life. What I try to encourage someone else,
Mhm.
I also encourage me, so
Okay.
that I know I am just as wonderful and perfectly made as God created me, as I want to impart into another person to make them feel better.
Yeah, yeah. That's powerful. So now how would you advise women um to overcome their fear of failure, when they're trying to pursue their dreams?
I wouldn't,
Okay.
because failure is what makes us.
Okay.
if you think about it, whenever you failed at something, one or two things going to happen. Either you're going to fail and whine about it, or it's going to make you stronger and you're going to be like, ain't nobody going to get me on this one. I am going to get through this.
Yes.
So no, I embrace failure. I expect failure. I embrace failure, period. I believe with all my heart, everything that I have failed at has made me win.
Okay. All right.
And I got this little thing, and I'm going to make it to a book at some point because I got all my little points down. And that is set yourself up to win by failing.
Okay.
So when instead of looking at it as a failure, look at it as, okay, how can I learn from it? How can it benefit me? And how can it be a blessing, not only to myself, but to someone else?
So now you wrote your first book, then you turned it into a movie. Tell us the process, like how you came to write that book, and then what made you decide to turn it into a movie.
I went and I put my script, transcribed my book over to a script. I have an actor, his name is actor Cal Cawthon, and he's been with me from the very beginning, and he's become a cherished friend for me. And what was funny when he got the script, he teases me even to this day. He's like, when you first presented that script, that was 1,000 pages, you know, and at that time I didn't realize a page is a minute, you know, so I had to go back and revise that, and I got blessed with, I tell you, God just blessed me with so much. A student named Tanner was brought into my life, and he helped me break down that novel into a script, and we worked on it together for days till we got it down to at least 90 minutes.
Okay.
And then he used his equipment, and he helped me direct, and I watched him, studied him. When he had to leave, to not be on the project no more, he met with me and he showed me all the important things about a camera so that way I can finish the project.
Okay.
So he finished the first hour of the movie, and then I completed the last 2 hours of the movie.
Okay.
And I used a camera that Quintana Jones, she was actually my assistant.
Okay.
And when Tanner had to go, we didn't have no camera, and so she's like, "Oh, I have a camera." I'm like, "Oh," and she didn't know me from Adam. She met me through Craigslist.
Okay. Oh, really?
And she literally gave me her camera, not knowing me, to use to film that movie for 2 years, whether she was there or not.
That was nothing but God.
Nothing but God. Yeah. And so to make a long story short, we filmed that. I got hooked. I was like, well, God, if you did it once, you'll do it again. So after that, I just started writing script after script. And then I got connected with what I call the 12 Wise Men, which are filmmakers in different areas in Hollywood that have taken me under their wing and taught me what they know. And so they're like, you're as good as your next project. That's the bottom line. Yeah. And so while we were training, I was like, well, if I'm not as good as my next project, I got to keep doing it. And my one biggest mentor, he's like really big in the industry, and he's always like, well, what you got going on? What you got going on? So in my mind, I'm like, well, I got to tell him what I got going on. So by him asking me that question, before I knew it, I had 33 short films I had written and filmed and edited.
That is amazing.
So he was like, you're serious about this? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. Heck, I got you. Why would I not be serious? Yeah. So he's like, okay. So then that's when he really just took me under his wing and started teaching me, training me. And he's like my greatest supporter. Okay. And so I started filming those. And then next thing you know, I got Amazon. So my films are on Amazon. And now I got all these scripts that I continue to write, that I've been able to sell some to make money, to live. So now I am completely and totally retired. I don't work a job of any sort because the scripts that I've written, I've sold to actually top producers in the industry that are big. It's kind of like the music industry. You get somebody to write the music, then the performance, but you get the benefits. Even though your name's not on it, you get the benefit. And I'm one of those people, I don't need my name out there. Just pay me that check.
That's right.
I'll keep doing what I love while you having fun with what I've done.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's been an honor. And then I answered that question. I kind of felt like I rambled on that one. I'm a writer, but I'm a talker too. So I can talk your ear off, and I can tell you, those people be like, "Oh my God, Tony, come on."
That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it.
Thank you.
Okay, so now what would you advise to women who have like something that they want to achieve, but they're afraid to jump?
What would I advise them?
What kind of advice would you give them?
Jump. You are not going to be able to do anything until you are having the confidence in yourself enough to just jump in, do it. Don't care. Don't worry about results, because the results are going to come whatever you do or whatever you don't do. The results going to come. The question is, do you want to choose the results, or do you want to just live with whatever just happens from the result? Yeah. And perfect example, this is my ramble. What I told you early on, when I was going through that poor stage of my life, living in an extended stay.
Yes.
I allowed life to just happen.
Okay.
Now I'm choosing how I want life to be.
All right.
I was under the thumb of people as a people pleaser, whether they were family, what I consider good friends, whatever it was. I was a people pleaser. When I was a people pleaser, I was not pleased.
Okay.
When I started deciding to choose me, that's when I saw people starting to fade out of my life. And here's the interesting thing. God told me to write, and I wrote down every name he told me to write down, which was family members and all the people that I called friends. And he showed me they were not my friends, and that I had family members that were family, but they were blood, but they weren't my family friend. And this is the term I always use for it. I end up having to divorce my friends and divorce some family members.
Okay.
Because they were destroying who God had created in me by the manipulation of who they were. Not intentionally to hurt me, but it was just who they were.
Yes. Okay.
You know, and because I was yielding to their way, I wasn't yielding to who God was making me to be.
Got you. Okay.
And I had to make a choice, you know, because like I even had a family member who I absolutely love and adore, got upset at me because I was coming into my own and simply told me, "You ain't nothing. You ain't nobody. You ain't never going to be nobody. You post all this stuff like you this and you that. Don't nobody care about what you got to say."
My goodness.
I almost believed it.
Okay.
Why? Because they were family, and I loved them. And family can destroy you faster than anyone because they really touch your heart. Well, when that came about, you know, she was like, I was of no importance. I said, well, then I'm no longer going to be important. And I just said, we can cut it from here. I have not spoken to that person or the family member that they are attached to me with for over 6 years now. Not because I don't want to, but because they made a choice that they didn't see me as any value.
So now, for women, now I know you said you used to be an accountant.
Yeah.
And so you worked and you was an accountant, then you left accounting and then you went back to writing. So for a woman that wants to transition from one career to another, what advice would you give her?
Same one, jump. I'm gonna tell you, a lot of people don't even realize this. I was an accountant. When I left accountant, I went to work for Target.
Okay.
I worked for Target 4 years, I believe it was, while I was filming.
Okay.
And I was only working 25 hours, living off of 25 hours a week.
Really?
All I could pay for was the hotel I was staying in.
Okay.
And that was necessary for two reasons. One, I was broke. I needed income. Two, it gave me the time. I would work from 5 a.m. in the morning to 10 a.m. or to 12 noon, depending on how they scheduled me.
Okay.
I would work 3 or 4 days, or I would work the whole full week.
Okay.
When I discovered what I was wanting to do in the filming, I took advantage of that because that left me the whole day. So I was like, no, I ain't complaining about working for Target. Shoot, Target gave me freedom.
Yes.
That's how I looked at it. I didn't care who saw me in Target and want to be like, oh, you call yourself a filmmaker and you up here working in Target. Man, I tell actors, I tell filmmakers, do what you got to do. You got to take care of yourself, period. That's and right. You got to take care of your livelihood and your home, because if you don't have peace in your livelihood and your home, you don't have the mental thinking to do anything, writing, or to make any changes. That's right. Because you're going to constantly be in survivor mode. So I took advantage of my survivor mode, and I worked it out to work at Target, work those early, and I begged for those early morning hours. I'd be exhausted when I get up, but when I got off at 10 o'clock, I could take a nice good nap, and then I could write or film the rest of the day. Okay. And that's how I was able to get things done, because I managed the time. Broke. Okay. So that's when I say just jump. Yeah. Don't worry about what you got, what you think you should have, because if you are operating in faith in God and faith in who you are, everything you need is already there. I was just having this conversation with a lovely lady a couple of days ago. You don't have to procrastinate anything. You don't have to look to anyone about anything. Everything you need, you already have. That's right. It's either on the inside of you or God got it on its way to you. Across your path, or it's going to stay with you. Yes. Okay. You just have to learn how to really embrace everything that comes without seeing it as a failure, or that it's going to deflate you, or that it's going to make you less than. And that's what really keeps us from doing anything that we really want to do, that God has given us. Failure, or feeling deflated, or worrying so much about somebody else's opinion. Yeah, that's right. And nobody's opinion matters, because they need to be paying attention to their own thing. Stay in your own lane. That's stay in your own lane. Get your opinion on yourself. Get your opinion off of me. That's right. So now, based off of the things that you've gone through in your life, what have you? I'm talking about the obstacles and the downside. You learned about yourself. That I can. Okay. That I can, whatever it is. I mean, because I feel like when I was going through whatever I was going through, I was struggling. I was depressive. I was crying, and I was trying to keep a positive attitude through all that. And it was hard, you know, and I felt fake. Okay. Because I was smiley and all jolly with everybody else. But when I got home by myself, I was crying. Okay. I was hurting. And nobody knew my hurt, but nobody knew my hurt because I didn't feel like I could trust anybody with my hurt. Okay. You know, and when you know you got people in your world and you can't trust them with your hurt, you're really still alone in your world. Still alone, that's right. You know, so when you're in that position, it's either ride or die. Right. And through the grace of God, I decided to ride. Okay. And it all, everything about me, it should be everybody, but I can only speak for me. Right. Everything about me is the base foundation of God and the word of God and the promise he's made in that word. I've read that Bible from beginning to end. I've read it in the King James, the International, the Mormon, there's one that's the Black History Bible. That thing right there will blow your mind if you ever have an opportunity to get the African American Bible, because it tells you the stories of us and who really was Black in the Bible, but how they survived and succeeded. Because we are that Bible as a Black nation. I'm sorry, I ain't trying to blow no other race, but we are straight up overcomers, period. You can slave us, you can beat us, but we rise. You can take our ideals and make them your own, but we rise. So if we really realize the real awesome quality that God has put inside of us, baby, we wouldn't even be having this conversation because everybody would be rising. You're not rising because you're identifying with what the world's telling you instead of what the word's telling you. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
It makes sense. Yes, yes.
So that is my foundation that I would encourage for any human person, black, white, whatever, woman, man. Get that foundation underneath you, and you will become so powerful within yourself. You'll be like, oh, I can't do that? Well, give me a minute. Yeah. I may not be able to do it your way. I may not be able to do it quickly, but give me a minute. I'm going to go get this done. Get that church finger going. I'm going to get this done, you know? And that's who we are as a human being, not our race, color, our creed, whatever we are described upon. It is what God put on the inside of us. He created us in his image. Let me preach. He has created us in his image. If we are truly created in his image, how can we see us anything other than women?
That's right. Yes.
That's the bottom line. So when I really identified with that, I soared in a way I never thought possible. Ain't nobody tell me nothing.
Right.
This is what I used to say years ago, but I need to start saying it again, actually. I made a choice to live on purpose.
Okay.
That's the advice I would give any person, woman, man, live on purpose.
So for women that are listening right now, can you give them some words of empowerment or encouragement for their life?
Yeah, I can. Live it.
Okay.
Because you only got one time to live this life. You're born into it. We live in the best country in the world, and we take it for granted.
Yeah.
We have freedom. Freedom of thought, freedom of choice, freedom of opinion. We abuse that, but we still have that freedom to do that. So any advice I give is don't take your freedom for granted and make use of it. You got a dream, chase it.
Okay.
A dream does not necessarily have to be a big filmmaker or a big star. You know, a dream can be being a great wife, being a great mother, loving your children, creating children and building them up to become great people in the world.
Right.
We are connected to one another by being human and born into this world and being in the country that we live in. We have to some way at some point find a way for generations that are to come to have that agape love to build upon, because that love builds on everything that we are and everything that we do. Even though you think you earned it by all the work you did or whatever you did to get it, it was built upon love, either love of your relationship to the people that assisted you, supported you, encouraged you, or if it's just a love that you feel by doing what you're doing. And I feel that I'm succeeding in what I'm doing as a filmmaker, all my titles, is because I literally, from the bottom of my heart, I truly love what God has given me the blessed opportunity to do, and I refuse to take any of it for granted for any reason, not my own reason or the reason of another human person or situation or circumstance that would arise within it, because I believe that it is a gift. And God says, I will give you gifts, and he gave leopards gift. What are you going to choose with that gift? Are you going to bury it, share it, or use it?
All right.
That's what I would tell them. Use your gift. Don't be afraid to fail.
Yes, good advice. All right, so one last question. So what are your upcoming projects that you have?
Child, I have quite a few, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I just finished wrapping up on a movie, and actually a series.
Okay.
The movie is called Kitchen Talk,
Okay.
and that's a family story of, you know, how we are in that kitchen. We tell all of the secrets in that little kitchen. That comes out actually on Amazon Prime for December the 25th. And
Okay.
then also I just finished filming 2 seasons because I have so many projects that I
Mhm.
had to film 2 seasons together
Okay.
of Gavin Hook, which is my first series period, but it's a detective series. And that's coming out in the early part of 2020. And then next year, I'm filming another series called Whispers,
Okay.
which is, wow, a crazy series, showing a lot of stuff. But I don't even know how to go into that one. So be on the lookout for Whispers. I'll be filming 2 seasons of that in spring of 2020. And
Okay.
I'm actually going to be doing my very first Christmas movie.
All right.
I've been really wanting to do, and that is called Behold Him, My Son.
Okay.
And that's a Christmas story about a father. Well, he's not even a father of the son.
Okay.
He has a best friend that has a child who wants to chase her dream,
Okay.
but she can't chase her dream with a child. So
Okay.
she leaves her child with her male best friend who
Mhm.
raises her son. She
Oh,
goes chases her dream. He
yeah.
becomes a father to this son, and he loves the life that he's built,
Okay.
and then she comes back into their lives, and now he has to make some decisions on, you know, trying to keep the family he's built with
Yeah.
that son,
Okay.
have her come into their lives, or
Mhm.
release her back to her. And
Wow.
all this is happening around his favorite time of the year, Christmas.
Christmas.
And
Okay.
they
Sounds
and so the goal of the story is, of course, the challenge and the triumph, but
Mhm.
how they come to a happy medium for
Right.
Christmas, and
Okay.
be able
Okay.
to celebrate the son
Yes.
of the child, but
Okay.
also the son of the father.
Sounds like a nice movie.
Then after that, I've got a couple of more projects, but the biggest project is what we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, and that is the book of Daniel, and
Okay.
telling the story from the Bible's perspective into today's world's perspective
Okay.
of who we are as human today, so that we can show that God is still God of
Yes.
today,
Yes.
as Daniel lived in the days past. So
Okay.
those are the projects that I have now. And then, oh, I can share this. And then I'm going to be working behind the scenes of the Oscars this coming up year. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I'm going to be a seat warmer.
okay. Okay.
And they got a couple assignments, and then that's been my dream, is to be able to have an Oscar win for something I've done as a project. But
Yes.
this is a great seed planted, I think, from God. I can get in there and mix and mingle and network. So that's the
Yes.
blessing in itself.
Yes. Okay.
And then Gavin Hook is already in position for the Emmys. So
Okay.
I'm already, so those are the wonderful things that God has been pouring down into our life and into the project. So who I was before, where people saw me as the failure, I would never do this. I even
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
one filmmaker say I would quit if I win. I
Uh-huh.
hope he doesn't quit. I hope he stays winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my story with you, and
You're
your
welcome.
audience.
And I thank you, and I wish you the best in your career.
Thank you. I was surprised. I'm gonna tell you, I normally do not do interviews at
Really?
all. Oh no, I'm not about interviews.
Okay.
I like to stay focused and grinding
Yes.
in my
Okay.
work. So
Okay.
to me, an interview has always been, sorry, a waste of time.
Okay.
Um, but something, I don't know, because if you notice, you were in my inbox for a long time.
Yes. Yes.
I hadn't even opened it, and I heard in my spirit, open that thing, and then I saw it, and I was like, ah. So normally when I get those, I usually say I don't do interviews, but thank you
Okay.
anyway. But
Uh-huh.
something said to sit with you, and and this is why your heart is pure,
Mhm.
and you really want to empower
Yeah.
people, even though you say women. I
Uh-huh.
can see just from your persona, what you
Mhm.
deliver, you're
Mhm.
really just wanting to be empowering,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you're using this platform to do so. That's
Yes.
why I kind of diversified it to say,
Okay.
yeah, it might be for women, but it's for any human
Anybody. Yes.
person
Yes.
because we all are all in it together.
Yes, that's
and
right.
You and I looked at your stuff.
Okay.
I looked at your page. I search everybody.
Okay.
I do my homework.
Uh-huh.
And you are touching lives with your words.
Thank you.
You are touching lives when you bring people like myself to the forefront for people to be able to hear.
Yes.
And I always say this as well. One word is all it takes to change a person's life.
That's right.
And you are given many.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're making me cry.
Well, I don't mean to make you cry, but I do mean to make you realize you are powerful and you are empowering through who God has given inside you. And you're using that, being that vessel for so many human beings, women included, but so many human beings.
Okay.
And the wonderful thing is the things that you're putting out is going to be here for generations to come, for people to come and see who you were, but how you were so impactful.
Thank you so much.
God bless you for following God's, what was inside you.
Thank you. And thank you. God bless you too for following what God gave you.
Amen.
So now if anybody wanted to reach out, I don't know if you want to give your information, but if somebody wanted to reach out to you, you can give your information if you would like to.
Toné Brown. I use social media, but I don't live by the social media.
Right. Okay.
I thank people for their likes, their comments, but I'm not living for the likes and the comments.
Okay.
All I can say is if you like who I am and God leads you to want to follow me, Google me, Toné Brown. T-O-N-E with a not a hyphen. I can't even think how to spell my own name. But anyway, just Google Toné Brown. I'm there. And it links to everything I put out there. So if I'm somebody that you feel that has blessed you in some kind of way and you want to follow me, I welcome you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Toné.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay. Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure. And thank you for choosing me.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to.
You betcha. God bless you.
Watching. If you want to reach out to Three Women Voices, you can find us at threewomenvoices.com. You can reach us at our email at threewomenvoices@gmail.com. You can reach us on Facebook at the number 3 Women Voices, and you can reach us on Instagram at 3_women voices. And I thank you for watching. Bye-bye.